Showtime. The right way to start your day. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Gets decked up. And for the third, I think the ball came out there. Who's going to come out of it? Eagles say they have it. Hurts on second down. Four-man rush. Has a lot of time. Looking. Throw it, end zone. Caught for the touchdown. Jahan Dotson. Going to take a shot. Going deep down the far side. And intercepted. Darius Slay.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
6-1. And it's intercepted. Zach Bond has it. On the give inside. Jacobs breaks the tackle. Straight ahead he goes. Josh Jacobs taking everyone with him. Inside the 5. And he's down. Here's Ludlow. Last gasp attempt. Going deep down the field into double coverage. It's intercepted. Picked off by Quinyon Mitchell. The third pick of the day for Philly.
We've been here before. It sucks. It's not fun. It's not fun being in that locker room after a game. And, it sucks.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamorro. Here's Jen Latta.
Running her mouth, she wants to ride it, she's trying to hide it. I'm cool as ever, she's too excited. Her man look like.
Let's just go ahead and start it. Line up. Carbless talking text line 800-990-3776. Season's over, Chew. 22-10. Eagles over the Packers. It just... While I wasn't anticipating them to... I wasn't anticipating a win yesterday. We talked about that last week. Talked about it yesterday on Green Bay Game Day. I thought it would at least be a little more competitive than it ended up being because that Packers offense... Yeah, it was the worst performance of the season, offensively. Yeah?
It was bad.
All right, they just
what we thought, though.
Just
Philly,
could not move the ball.
Gabe, it's simple. It's simple. Philly's just better. And that's why we said what we did last week, and it kind of out that way. They said it on the broadcast twice, and it did. This game kind of felt like it was 75-0. You got to tip your hat to the defense.
I kept them in the game for so long. It just felt like you accidentally get one big play, Chew, and it felt like you could get back into it because the defense played so well, and it was just 10-0 for the longest time. For the longest time, it was 10-0.
I just never felt for the last handful of weeks that if they needed to throw the ball in order to win a game, they just aren't going to get it done, and that was the case yesterday. Jordan wasn't sharp. Was this the worst game he's ever played as a Packer? I know you mentioned in the meeting that you said
Vegas last year was worse. Vegas was worse,
which means absolutely nothing. That game, the lights were on and he didn't shine. He didn't see the field. LaFleur did not put him in a position to succeed. I saw they only ran, was it 3 play action passes, Gabe?
Yeah.
The only thing that was working was Josh Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
And still, at the end of the day, Josh Jacobs, I think, had 81 yards and what you said, another 40 receiving.
Yep.
That's not good enough to get it done. We talked about Aaron Jones towards the end of last year and how important he was for their success. He was on fire. You can't win with a running game. I just don't think you can. I think you got to have the ability to run the ball, but in the end, man, when you have to, you got to sling it around, and he did not play well, and I don't know if these receivers are good enough because you got a bunch of 2/3s out there that did. And I don't want to hear injuries. I don't want to hear injuries, yeah. Because they were, for the most part, had been healthy all year long. Okay? They lost their middle linebacker and they lost their best corner. Okay? We lost a lot, but that happens in games, and guys need to step up.
Yesterday was, as healthy as they were for most of the season, Chew, yesterday was rough.
Yeah.
Guys just kept going down.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Then for Josh Myers to go down when the game's essentially over. The game's already over, and Josh Myers, who's set to be a free agent, goes down. Now they're hopeful that it's not going to be a tough injury for him. They seemed a little bit more optimistic. But the first person on the Carbless Talking text line today isn't pointing the finger at Jordan Love or Matt LaFleur or Brian Gutekunst, and there is plenty of that. We'll get to that briefly. The first person, Chef Ed, is pointing the finger at you, Chewy, and at you, Joshy. Chef Ed is blaming you.
Yes, I know where he's going. And I was going to say, it's sad for me to say, Joshy, but should there be an RIP today?
What did I do?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ever since they tried to change the Victory Monday song to Kid Rock, the wheels fell off the wagon.
Yep.
You guys,
I mean, I'll share the heat with you, Joshy, but ultimately I think it falls mostly on you.
It was your
but I'll deflect a little bit.
It was your idea.
Yeah, but you played it without any prompting on Friday.
I mean, we have to be.
Josh?
Well, here's the thing, Josh. In Chewy's defense, you and I have to be Chewy's filter. You're the one who ultimately let it through after the Saints game. And so, yeah, I think that ultimately becomes your fault.
I tried to stop it.
Josh, it's kind of like. Yeah, so it's mostly your fault.
Now everybody's pointing fingers at each other.
You had. It was like us missing curfew, Josh, and I didn't have a license, and you did, and I was just in the car. So I couldn't leave until you wanted to leave, even though you got me home late. I'll take some of the blame, but most of it's on you.
That was the
first song, too.
First person. Well, it's dead. R.I.P., bud. You know, well, we'll have to try to figure out something else, maybe for Victory Monday next year. No, it's not going to be Kid Rock and Ba with the Ba.
No, Gabe, this could be summed up very, very easily. Philly's a better team. And we said that.
Yeah, and
Philly's got more talent on their team than Green Bay does.
And that's where Cody texts in, Eagles have a great GM, we don't. Roster has a lot of holes. And I think that's, again, look, that. I don't know if I want to say Goody's not a great GM, right? I mean, at the end of the day, Chew, this is still a young and growing team. And the issue is, last year they were the youngest team to be in the postseason, and they won a playoff game. Played really well for 3 quarters against San Francisco before it fell apart, and they ultimately lose by 3. And then you feel good about that arrow pointing up heading into 2024. This year, they're the youngest team in the league again. Second youngest team ever to make the playoffs to last year's team.
I don't care.
And they played poorly
really
at the end of the season, so you don't feel as good. But what do you mean you don't care? That factors in.
I don't care. They choose to be young.
Yeah,
it's not like, oh, my God, we're so beat up, the only kids who are available are rookies. They choose to be young. I don't know if it works. It clearly hasn't worked this year. So I'm not using that. You can't use when they choose to be the youngest team in the league.
Here's what
that's
I'm saying.
On them.
Here's what I'm saying, Chew. Like, it's a process. Like, I have to, you're not able to just turn this thing around, go to a brand new quarterback, and go to a Super Bowl in 2 years. Like, I don't think when Jordan Love took over, were any of us saying, yep,
he's in his 5th year.
2024.
He's not in his 2nd year. He's in his 5th year.
Okay, but whatever, Chew.
That's
When he took over,
5th year
when he took over as the starting quarterback, were you saying, yeah, 2024 they're going to the Super Bowl? You weren't.
I said 25.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, they were the youngest.
But you know what they're going to be next year?
They're the youngest team this year.
You know what they're going to be next year? You know what they're going to be next year?
If they're the youngest team in the league next year, that's a mistake.
The youngest team in the league. Here you go.
That's going to be a mistake if that happens.
Way to go. Youngest team in the league. Great.
So they were the youngest team last year. Like, there's a process to build this thing up. Like, do I think that they're ever going to be the oldest team in the league? No. But they can't be the youngest again next year. And I don't think they will. They've got there's not a lot of roster spots. I believe they have 46 guys under contract as we sit here right now for 2025. You can only carry 53 on the roster.
Yeah. I've already pivoted on 25. I've already pivoted. Where I said, next year's definitely the year. I'm not saying that now. With losing Jair.
Jair really didn't play most of the year anyway.
Line needs some address. I'm just saying. You need a receiver. You need a number one.
Yep. I agree.
You need corner help.
You need some bodies there. They held up yesterday.
You need some bodies. So, yes, there are holes. I'm not saying they can't win the Super Bowl.
It kind of seems like you are.
Yep.
But I thought.
Kind of seems like you are. You're tapping out. You said you were tapping out already.
That's not what I'm saying.
The season's
But
not even 24 hours over, and you're sitting over there tapping out like Bret Hart's got you in the sharpshooter.
Well, let me ask you this. Based upon this season, did you ding them down a couple knocks going into next year?
I got to see what they do in the offseason, Chew, because there's obviously holes, right?
I'm saying right now. Can't wait.
I gotta see what they do because there's obviously holes, and if Brian Gutekunst is unable to or does not want to address some of those holes, then yeah, I'm not going to feel as good going in. But like, I feel great about that. At the end of the day, this team.
Win it. I'm not can't. They are closer, Gabe, to Washington and Tampa Bay than they are Detroit and Minnesota and Philadelphia.
Yeah, as we sit here right now, yeah, I think that's something that I agreed with all season long. Like you were the seventh seed for a reason.
I know.
You were the seventh seed for a reason because you couldn't couldn't win those big games, right? Like they just couldn't step up. They could not win those big games absolutely when it mattered.
A few apologies on the talk and text line would be appreciated. Not a ton, maybe one or two.
It's hard to keep up.
We gonna get them or no?
It's well, not today. I don't think. I think right now over on the Carplus talk and text line 800-990-3776. Lot of vitriol going on right now for Brian Gutekunst, Matt LaFleur, and Jordan Love. Not a lot of optimism.
What the hell do you expect?
Not a lot of. So we got a text here on the Carplus Talk and text line. LaFleur and Love both stunk yesterday. This is a recording. What else we got here? So much for draft and development from Guy. Ben saying $250 million. What a joke. At least he won't hold out of camp next year. Yeah, a lot of hatred going on right now in that Carplus Talk and text line. Which, again, understandable.
What do you expect?
Understandable. Dump your bucket. Go for it. This is a judgment-free zone on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy today. Like, if you're probably going to say something you regret, and that's fine. Sometimes when you're upset, you're heated, you're going to say something you regret. I mean, maybe I'll push back a little bit. Like, you could be upset. Like, when Ben, $250 million, what a joke. At least you won't hold out of camp next year. That I'll let go. But if you're going to say, hey, we should trade Jordan Love, like, I'm just going to I'm going to gently push back there and saying, I understand you feel that way. Just understand the impossibility of that actually happening.
I'll shove back on
But with that. But with that.
Yes.
And I think fans at times have trouble with this. You got to hold players accountable.
Yeah. Look.
You got to hold them accountable.
Look, I it's in my backpack, so I can't grab it right now. Before the pregame show yesterday, Chew, I did some research on how Love did against playoff teams, compared it against the other 6 quarterbacks in the NFC and how they did against playoff teams. Numbers weren't great. Like at the end of the day, like I don't think anybody's going to push back on Jordan Love. Has to be better. He has to play better next year. Like there's no doubt about that. He just has to.
Is it fair to say he regressed this season? Because I said that and got some pushback, and the numbers because interceptions were similar year over year. Obviously, yardage is down for him, but he missed some games in there and had some injuries. But it didn't feel the same. And obviously, we have the 8-game stretch that was as good as anyone played in the NFL the past 2 seasons, basically. Yeah. But it didn't feel like he was as confident as he was in those 8 games at any point this season.
So, and again, this is not to say that he's going to be this guy. But the reason why I bring up this name, Chew, is because you played with him, you were tight with him, and he wasn't as good in his second season starting as he was in his first. And, of course, that's Brett. Like, Brett comes on, that first year he's in Green Bay, he's 64% completion percentage, 18 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. The next year he leads the league in picks. Completion percentage goes down 3 or 4 points. He wasn't as good. And I know you've told the story. I don't know if this was the time. At some point in there was a discussion by the coaching staff of, do we replace him with Mark Brunell? Obviously they don't. Yeah. You guys go on and do everything you did with Brett. So the reason why I bring this up is because you played with him, you lived through it. What happened with Brett that he kind of took that half step back in 93 only to regain it, then go forward in 94, and then you guys are off and running in 95?
He stopped being as reckless with the ball that he was.
Okay.
he kind of toned down the gunslinging. The interceptions were clearly a problem then, and he learned from it. But what I want to see is maybe one of you guys can do it during the break. And I don't want to hear year 2. He's in year 5. I want you to compare Brett's numbers in his 5th year and Aaron's number in his 5th year to.
Well, so Aaron's numbers in his 5th year are actually, Brett's are going to be different because Brett in year 5 had been starting for 4 years, so the numbers are going to be a lot higher. The numbers are eerily similar because I did see somebody do this to Aaron because they both sat for 3 years, and then when they started playing, the difference being, I guess the difference is at that point Aaron was 1-1 in the postseason, or 0-1 in the postseason, and Jordan Love is 1-2.
And then what did Aaron do in his 6th year?
That's when they won the Super Bowl.
You can look that up.
That's when they won the Super Bowl. His 3rd year starting
was he MVP? Was he MVP?
MVP in year 7. He was MVP in 11. They won the Super Bowl in 2010.
But he was legit in his 6th year, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'm not saying Aaron's got to be. I'm not saying Jordan's got to be Aaron.
Yeah.
But
that's always the tough part is comparing Jordan to the 2 guys before him who are, in the Hall of Fame meeting, you just stand up and say their name, you sit down, and they get voted through. I do want to address this because it was a question here on the Carbless Talk and text line asking about this from Adam. Should that first drive hit that caused the turnover been a penalty, helmet to helmet? No. It's not college football. And Keyshawn Nixon was not defenseless. In the NFL, the player, in order for the helmet-to-helmet thing and for the targeting thing, that's a college rule. And maybe because we've all been watching the college football playoff. So the hit that caused the fumble should not have been a penalty. It's not a penalty in the NFL. If you want to have a discussion, go ahead, Chew.
And that should be a teaching point because that was an absolute perfect tackle. Head up.
This is crown of his helmet. I don't know if you really want to be doing that yourself.
Stop being a wuss. Stop being a wuss for crying out loud.
I'm saying for
what
protecting
do you want, flags
yourself.
on these guys now?
I didn't
say
that.
Is that what you want, flags?
The one
that
question.
That is a perfect tackle. That's how tackling should be taught.
So that
Lower your hips.
Yeah.
Head back. And accelerate through the tackle.
In college, that's probably a penalty. In professional football, it is not.
I'll say this: he'll certainly be getting a fine in his locker.
I don't know.
I think when you use your helmet, that was crown of the helmet.
Yeah, but again, I don't know. In the NFL, they don't do targeting. That's not a thing.
Right, but
hit on defenseless receiver is.
Yes, correct. The defenseless is the big thing here. That is not.
And Keyshawn Nixon is not defenseless.
He was clearly a ball carrier.
Yes, he's a ball carrier. He couldn't have been more of a ball. The only thing from that play I will listen to,
is the fumble recovery.
I don't know how Keyshawn Nixon isn't ruled to have recovered that own fumble, but it is what it is. Apparently, he didn't have it long enough. I don't know what the rules are at the bottom of a pile. I guess at that point, once you recover it, hold on to it. I guess is the only thing I can say. We'll continue to take your calls. You guys are lining up on that Carbless Talk and text line. We'll read your texts. Carbless Talk and text line is 800-990-3776. This is more of the reaction as the Packers season has come to an end. Next on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
Nice quiet ride around the area. Maybe a quick tap on the brakes. Eastbound 94 right past 76th Street. Overall, though, everything is looking pretty good. No other incidents to report. Traffic is brought to you by James Imaging Systems, your local document imaging partner, dedicated to helping businesses do business better. Visit jamesimaging.com. And check the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Morning flurries becoming mostly sunny, breezy, very cold with a high of 17, wind chills of 0 to 10 below. Then tonight, clear and cold with the low of 4 at the lakefront, 1 below inland with wind chills of 10 below to 20 below. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga, 94.5 ESPN.
The Jen, Gabe, and Chewy podcast is sponsored by Celsius Energy Drink, and I am here to tell you it makes a huge difference in my mornings. With a unique blend of essential energy and key vitamins, Celsius is your partner to an active lifestyle. My favorite, the Peach Vibe. Learn more at Celsius.com and pick up Celsius Energy Drinks today.
Kevin Moret for Mentality. Guys, most new clients start with just 1/3 the free testosterone they need, and that puts you at an unfair disadvantage. No matter how hard you push yourself, it's an uphill battle. Free testosterone drives everything, your energy, strength, and metabolism, and without it, nothing works. At Mentality, our doctors restore that balance so your body works the way it should. Energy comes back, fat burns off, and you feel like yourself again. Make this year different. Visit mentalityhealth.com/radio for a special New Year offer. That's mentalityhealth.com/radio.
Great Midwest Bank has document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems, a 100% locally owned and managed business technology company. The bank's IT systems administrator, Michael Quizon, comments on the value of local.
We call on them at any point, they're there. We ask them any questions that we have, they're there.
James Imaging Systems, local business technology solutions, local support, local accountability. Luther Gray, Director of Ticket Operations and Group Sales for the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra.
If an issue does arise, they're very prompt, polite, and professional. It makes me feel empowered because I find it very easy to resolve something.
James Imaging Systems client, Al Leidinger, President of Matheson Manufacturing, summarized the benefit of local.
James Imaging has been a really good partner with us from the beginning.
Go with local. Go with James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com.
Football season. Best time of the year and my favorite time of the year. This is ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman. On game days, my favorite teammate is a cold carbless in my hand. Premium cocktails in a can made right here in the great state of Wisconsin. Maybe it's when I'm at the tailgate ahead of kickoff or getting ready at home for the game. Carbless is there. 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and gluten-free. Carbless features classic cocktails like margarita, Paloma, and even Moscow Mule, and vodka cocktail flavors like cranberry, lemon, and peach. Find it on your next grocery trip. Carbless. Less is more.
Ready to tackle your home improvement project this winter? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. As a 5-time President's Club Award winner, Exterior Pros is not playing around. With flexible financing, it's never been easier to invest in your home without breaking the bank. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274. Trust the pros and kick off your home transformation today.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
I'm telling you, don't doubt his story because he heebie-jeebies at certain times to miss field goals.
Yeah.
Gabe, I showed you how he does the heebie-jeebies,
Heebie-jeebie,
right?
heebie-jeebie,
You take your
heebie-jeebie.
fingers and you rub them back and forth on your thigh and you go heebie-jeebie, heebie-jeebie. Swear the guy bats 100%. So to call him a liar and he puts a curse on you?
Look, I'm not calling him a liar.
Yeah, you are.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Understandably, that Carbless Talking text line, it is locked, it is loaded, it is full. We will get to more of your texts here today as the Packers season has come to a disappointing whimper of a close, 22-10 to the Eagles in Philadelphia yesterday. Well, let's go out to the phone lines, Carbless Talking text line, where Jeff in Milwaukee has been waiting. Jeff, you're on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
How you guys doing?
Not great, bud. Like, even though I was predicting them to lose, like, it's not like I wanted them to lose. I'm still sad that they lost and that the season's over.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I want to thank you guys. You do an amazing job on your show. And, Gabe, sometimes people think that you're negative, and I think you're super realistic. I think you guys both do a great job. So this is my thought. For the whole season, the bottom line is the offense regressed and the defense got better. And next year they're going to have to get some offensive line help, some wide receiver help, and some defensive back help. I still think the one thing that is confounding to me is last year when they had a great running game the last 6 games of the year, their offense just took off. And this year they had a great running game the whole year, and for whatever reason, LaFleur could not marry that passing game with the running game. And I actually don't know. I'm not sure why. And I do place a lot of this at the feet of LaFleur with whatever he's scheming. Guys are not wide open. And Brady even said on the telecast, this is a defense where you nickel and dime them, and then you go for a deep one. And you didn't see them hitting the backs and hitting the tight ends. Where are the tight ends in this offense. I just don't get it. So I'm place a lot of this at the feet of LaFleur. Don't get me wrong. Jordan Love has got to get better. He does. But I just think LaFleur had a tough year. His offense was never really clicking. And if you guys have any insight as to why that passing game couldn't be married with a great running back, that would be fabulous because I'd love to know. Thanks again for having a great show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Jeff. And Chewy, we do have. Let's go ahead and listen to Matt LaFleur as he was asked about that last night after the game, and he said it was a multitude of things that led to the poor passing performance.
There was a lot of things that I thought we were going to be able to hang our hat on, and it's unfortunate. There were a couple times where we had guys open, and when one ball gets batted at the line of scrimmage, it just. There was sometimes we didn't have great protection, so I think it was a multitude of things throughout the course of the game that led to a poor performance in the pass game.
And I think go ahead.
Is this the new formula to stop Love? The Eagles blitzed one time on 36 dropbacks.
Yeah.
So that was the formula prior to that injury. Then he was getting blitzed at like the highest rate. And then it kind of went back to what people were trying to do last year, where it was kind of just confuse him, put as many guys back there, and hopefully he makes a bad decision.
He made plenty of bad decisions yesterday.
And to what the last caller said, how he can't marry the running game to the pass. That's why I had no confidence in this team. I don't think they could. I don't think they could win by scoring 35 points. It just all right, Gabe. So the run game was really the only thing that was working yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. For the most part. Why the hell are you only throwing 3 play-action passes?
So I asked yesterday, Brian Bulaga. Now, again, this is a bit of a football nerdy answer, and I'll try to give the Cliff Notes version the best I can. Because, Blue's an offensive lineman, and he gets it. So I asked him yesterday about the different running style that they've adopted and the different run blocking system. We talked a little bit about this on Friday on this show as well. And so he basically said the way that they block for Josh Jacobs now, it doesn't really behoove the linebackers to step up or flow with the team. They need to read and be a little bit more hesitant with the way that the Packers block it up. So play action is tougher to do off of that because the linebackers are staying put anyway. It's not like the linebackers are flowing up the way that they would with an Aaron Jones stretch run that we saw so much last year where then you could boot off of it. So just based off of that, I wonder if they're going, okay, well, it doesn't really pay to do the play action because we want to get the linebackers up. And if the linebackers aren't moving up no matter what, why waste the time with play action? That's the way I looked at it, at least, after hearing that reaction from Blue.
Wow. From someone who used to make a living off of play action, I just don't understand it. And maybe he's right. It could be because Iowa did the same thing. My son was the assistant line there coach forever. They didn't combination block. It was just man on man. And that does affect because it doesn't allow that guard to sell it. Whereas if he's combination blocking, they can come off on a double team. And how we used to run it is we would double team level one, and then when the backers flowed, either the tackle or the guard would fall off, and take that linebacker. Jeez, all I would need is a step. If that Mike linebacker committed one step, he was beat. He was beat, and he had to because we had a decent enough rushing attack where he had to come downhill because we ran the ball inside. And they run the ball inside with Josh Jacobs. It just does not make sense. And I guess that's why people asking, why isn't the tight end involved more in play action? But if that's the reason, it just seems dumb.
Yeah, because once again,
and I've said this before, Gabe. The one thing you notice about Tucker Kraft, you rarely see him run the same route.
Yeah,
right. Where's the bread and butter? So to that point, I just don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, 5 catches for 26 yards yesterday for Tucker Kraft was his final tally. Jeff from Greenfield texting in the Cardinals Talking text line. Don't care how many tweaks the Packers do to the roster, they will never win a Super Bowl as long as LaFleur is the head coach. You are not a good coach when your team is as undisciplined and unmotivated as his team is.
I just don't, and I think what we saw in this game is, thank God, the offensive line stayed healthy for the regular season, because there is a big drop-off between number 5 and number 6, right?
Yeah.
Who got pulled? Who got pulled? I mean, that's
Travis Glover.
Whew.
Yeah, a couple holds.
That's never good.
Wandered downfield, although that one wasn't his fault.
Yeah, no. It's still a penalty.
No, it was an RPO. Yeah.
I mean, Jordan Morgan was supposed to be that guy. He was rotating with Sean Ryan for much of the year. That was their preferred backup. And then they ended up at 7 and 8. And at that point, you can count on the Packers usually have 6 good offensive linemen. I think 7 and 8 is a problem, but they have those guys there for a reason. Those were draft picks, and clearly Travis Glover was not prepared for the task of blocking Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis.
I think he played less than 20 snaps offensively this year.
And he let his presence.
But you know what he is, Gabe? You know what he is? He's young. He's young. Woo!
Yeah, I think you're right. Especially after Jordan Morgan went down. Thank God this team stayed healthy on the offensive line.
Kidding. How many holding calls were there?
Too many.
Was it their most penalized game, or yardage-wise?
Yardage-wise, it might have been.
I saw a tweet about that.
Yeah, yardage-wise, it might have, because you also mixed in a couple of personal foul penalties in there. So it wasn't just those little guys. They got dinged for the 10 and 15 yarders.
I didn't feel they weren't ready to play. Did you? I didn't think they were flat.
No. Again,
I think that gets prescribed to ineffectiveness.
Yeah.
I mean,
they just weren't good.
Yeah, to a certain degree, it's just if you don't execute, it's going to look like you're unprepared. But you had nothing in the run game to start the game, which is a giant problem. Short field for the defense, you block for 7 seconds, and Jalen Hurts could sit there. Someone's going to pop open.
I think I saw it was the longest protection somebody had on a touchdown pass since 2021.
That was bad.
Tom Brady going, it takes me 3 snaps to get that high in second count. That was bad. And the 2 personal foul penalties on Keyshawn and then the other one on TJ Slayton. Were those ticky-tack? Were those ticky-tack? Sure, but don't put yourself in that position. Don't even there's an official right there. Don't do anything where it looks like you could be doing something extracurricular.
The Keyshawn Nixon was pretty soft, but he's done that multiple times.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
it was completely unnecessary.
Yeah, but Slayton has to be smart enough. If that was Iggy Pop that he was throwing down, he probably wouldn't have got the flag.
Yeah.
But you're throwing down the best running back in the NFL.
Right in front of an official. You're doing it in the backfield where there's the head official and the umpire. They're both standing right there.
I mean, Slayton's ear probably hurt from the whistle being blown directly into it because that ref was right there.
You just don't do it right there. It seems like a bad idea.
It was nice to see LaFleur chew his ass on the sideline because, that was a huge play in the game.
Yeah.
Even though they sucked, they were still kind of in it.
They were kind of in it.
Right. That ended the game.
Yes.
That penalty.
Mm-hmm. That ended the game.
Yeah.
No, you know what ended the game for me was
Opening
Malik
kick?
Heath. And don't blame Malik Heath on the sideline. That's Jordan. That's late. That's late.
Inaccurate.
And it's off target. That's not Heath. That's Jordan. That's bread and butter. When you're doing a 5-yard rollout, that should be we called it pitch and catch. Jordan just didn't have it. He hasn't had it for a little while. Just hasn't had it.
I would bet a Devontae Adams or a T. Higgins probably stay in bound there, but it's still off target. Right?
Yeah, those are the best of the best that are going to be able to save that.
It's not so much it's off target. It's late. It's late. That ball should most times be in the air as he's putting his inside foot down and rolling it over.
Yeah.
That's pitch and catch. That ended the game. 4th down.
800-990-3776. Less is more. The Car Blues Talking text line. More from you as we continue on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. But you've probably heard about employee stock ownership plans before, but what separates Fifth Third Bank from others when it comes to these plans? A succession plan that benefits business owners and employees. From full and partial sales, second stage transactions, repurchase obligation financing, and seller note refinancing, ESOPs can offer tax advantages, increased liquidity, employee incentives, and overall diversification of net worth. to help your company plan for the future. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
Never miss out on a second of the show. Find Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand. Sponsored by Celsius Essential Energy Drink.
Things are slowing down a little bit on 94 eastbound from just east of 84th Street all the way to Hawley Road. Otherwise, everything else is looking pretty quiet. And check the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Morning flurries becoming mostly sunny, breezy, very cold with a high of 17, wind chills of 0 to 10 below. Then tonight, clear and cold with the low of 4 at the lakefront, 1 below inland with wind chills of 10 below to 20 below. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Elevate your game day gear or any outfit with official merchandise from the Milwaukee Bucks Pro Shop. From authentic jerseys to exclusive apparel and accessories, the Bucks Pro Shop has everything you need to showcase your fandom wherever you go. Cheer the deer to victory with authentic Milwaukee Bucks items. Visit us at the Bucks Pro Shop at Fiserv Forum or Bayshore Mall, or shop online at shop.bucks.com.
American Family Insurance is a lot like Captain America. He protects the world.
It's just doing my job.
And we help protect your dreams with amazing auto and home coverage. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com. And see Marvel Studios' Captain America: Brave New World.
Suit up. We need to move.
In theaters February 14th. This film is not yet rated.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
With a local Milwaukee team, Fifth Third Bank knows what success looks like. They've been serving businesses and individuals in the area for nearly 15 years, including a long-standing commitment to the healthcare industry. From expansion to treasury management, Fifth Third offers a full suite of financial services and solutions across the healthcare spectrum to meet the complex moments you're navigating. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
Chronic joint pain has a snowball effect. It's not just the pain.
What that did is just make me depressed that I couldn't get back into the gym, and I was inactive, gaining weight. I had to find another alternative.
And for Chad, that alternative was QC Kinetics and the non-surgical natural biologic treatments that can give lasting relief to aching hips, shoulders, knees, and backs.
Once they explained it, it made sense. Putting what we have inside our body back into us in a certain strategic way to heal up in a natural process was fantastic.
QC Kinetics treatments take place right in the office. No downtime, no surgery. And as for the outcome,
I'm just back to bouncing around, having fun, doing my work, living pain-free.
Don't let chronic joint pain rob you of your quality of life. Discover advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. Call now to learn more. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Big trucks can be intimidating. If you've been seriously injured in a truck crash, call Gruber Law Offices today. Trucking law can be extremely complicated. You don't want to take on the insurance company alone. Gruber Law Offices has the experience, the resources, and of course, the results. We know truck law. We know the rules and regulations. We know what it takes to win. Call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
What's the one thing you say almost weekly here on the show?
Less eat.
Try again.
I don't know.
What's the one thing you've got?
Big boobs.
You've got time.
Oh, time.
You've got time.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
We got there.
Took off. I needed a few more hints.
Yeah. You put you in a... That's Gabe's fault.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Rolling along as the Packers season has come to a close. 22-10 at the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles. 800-990-3776 is the Carbless talk and text line where Dave from Aaron chimes in. I don't believe in witch hunts, but I think, well, he says Passaccia, although I believe, obviously, he means Rich Bisaccia. needs to go. Aside from the kicking, our special teams are trash. I'm in alignment with Gabe. We need a number one receiver. I mean, I guess, it's not the special teams coach that is out there missing field goals, right? Like, that was, in a game where just about everything went wrong, the one thing that the Packers seemingly had fixed, Chew, you get a 38-yard field goal miss from Brandon McManus in the game as well.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, he missed it, whatever. I want McManus back next year. I don't want to go through what we did in training camp in the early part of the offseason. McManus is good enough. Yes, he missed one yesterday. Just sign him to a contract this offseason and end that sort of drama.
Yeah, but Gabe, I saw that they rank 28th in special teams unit in the league. Is that true? And he's the highest paid special teams coaching. So you know what? Where he would fall if he was a player? Stealing.
Sure. If you want to fire him, fire him. I guess whatever. Really, when it comes to special teams, especially like Chew with the new kickoff rule and the way everybody's just booting it out of the end zone, you're starting to 30 anyway. Like, does your kicker make or miss kicks? And that's not really on the special teams coach. Like, Bisaccia is not out there giving him tips of, oh, hey, you want to hit the ball with this part of your foot. That's not what special teams coordinators do.
No, that's fine. But
so if you want to fire him, fire him. Like, go ahead. I just don't care.
I just don't care. Gabe, 28th?
Sure. Cool. But I don't know what that means. Like, 28th and what? Like, what does that mean? Like, in field position?
I don't know.
Like, are you getting kicks blocked? I mean, again, it's embarrassing to have what happened to them against the Chicago Bears. Like, you can't have that happen. If that's why you want to fire him, fine. But I guess I look at special teams as the only thing I really care about is, are you making or missing your kicks, and are they getting blocked? Like, that's where I land.
Have they run a fake? Did they run a fake at all this year?
I did not see one, no. And I think that's what I'm a little bit disappointed in from yesterday as well. Like, the way that I've heard you talk, the way I've heard other former players talk about the excitement and giddiness, and maybe they didn't get the opportunity to run it, but whenever there's a trick play that you put in for the game plan for that week, like, everybody gets excited and everybody wants to run it. And I wish we would have seen a trick play yesterday just to kind of loosen some things up. And maybe that just jumpstarts you in the essence of, hey, we got nothing to lose. We're the 7th seed. We're going on the road. We're underdogs. We got nothing to lose here. Let's go ahead. Let's go out and let's get it. Right? Like, that's where I come down on it.
Hafley held up his end of the donkey. Right? I mean, my guess is if he went into LaFleur, if LaFleur asked him, hey, how many points do I have to score in order for us to win this game, I'm sure Hafley probably said 28, right?
Yeah, and 24 would have got the job done. Yeah. 24 would have got the job done.
Yeah. But the problem, the other side was so bad. There was no donkey, is just an ass. You like that, Joshy?
I did like that one.
This was wonderful.
Are you firing Bisaccia? Or, Passaccia as the autocorrect. I'm assuming the autocorrect got whoever texted in on the
Rich
Bisaccia.
Bisaccia wouldn't have been on my team to start the season. I don't think Keyshawn Nixon fumbling or anything that happened yesterday was his fault.
Because here's my other thing. Like, I don't like. Keyshawn Nixon's been a good enough returner over the last handful of years. I have zero issue with him taking it from a yard in. Like, I have zero issue because at some point, I thought yesterday, in order to steal a win, in order to pull something up, you needed an irregular play, right? Yeah. Like, you needed a big kickoff return, a big interception, something like that. So he tried to make something happen. He fumbled.
But let me ask you this. If he takes a knee 1 yard in, they get the ball at the 30, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can guarantee his averages this year aren't past the 30-yard line. So why the hell wouldn't you do it every single time? I would take it with the ball to 30 all day long.
Just give me a second to pull up his stats. I think it's pretty close with what he's done all year.
I mean, 20, back in the day, 20 felt long for us. That's like, man, we need 2 first downs. Or is it 3?
Nixon is 8th in the league in kick return average. It is 28.3 yards. Now you have to factor in a lot of teams aren't kicking it. Like, we saw it a few times. Some teams are purposely making you return it.
Yeah.
They think they have advantage because they can land it in the corner. They can put some air under the ball.
Which is what I think they were trying to do, because you saw them execute a couple more times where Nixon, the first time he was a yard deep. The other times he was at the 1 or 2 and was forced to return it.
Yes.
Again, he's got a long of 43. Like, again, if you can't fumble the football there. Nobody cares if you don't get to the 30 there, if you get tackled at the 25, as long as you don't fumble. Don't fumble the football, and nobody cares. That's what it comes down to. So I didn't have an issue with Keyshawn Nixon trying to make a play to start the game. This to me wasn't Ty Montgomery bringing it from 2 yards out when you're like, no, take a knee, make sure Aaron Rodgers gets the football, because Ty Montgomery wasn't a 2-time All-Pro returner the way Nixon is.
Yeah. Make a play. And you got smacks.
Yeah. Like, it sucks. Like, don't get me wrong, it sucks. It's worst way to start a game. Like, you get the football and then you don't have the football, and then they get it on top of it to start the second half. It's the worst. It stinks. So, yeah, that's 800-990-3776. Carbos talking text line.
What injury hurt the most? If you could have just kept one of those players in the game, would it be Elton Jenkins or would it be Dobbs?
It'd be Elton Jenkins, especially given the way that the guys behind him performed, because I think you had 5 penalties between the two of them.
Yeah.
So based on the way that the two guys performed behind, Elton Jenkins, and I don't think it's close.
The one on Telfort you can sort of forgive. Love escaped the pocket and ran right where his guy was standing.
Yeah.
He's not expecting that. But 4 times those guys were flagged for not doing the right thing. Don't love that.
Yeah, that's a big drop-off. Does that mean you have to bring Josh Myers back? Me and Joshy were talking about the numbers, because the number would be around 10. Right, Josh?
I don't know. I don't know if you bring Josh Myers back or if you feel like you can draft enough offensive linemen where you feel good enough about Jordan Morgan. I don't know who becomes your center.
Jacob Monk, allergic to cold water. They drafted somebody. I have no idea what anyone thinks about him. He redshirted.
Yeah, he played yesterday because Myers got hurt at the end. Yeah. And it wasn't long enough to be like, oh, yeah, this guy's really good.
Yeah.
So, but offensive line, to your point, like that offensive line depth is certainly something that you have to add to the list, especially after what we saw yesterday. Like that goes to the list. I mean, granted, it doesn't go above, to me, a wide receiver, an offensive playmaker, another playmaker on the defensive side. Like, it's probably 3 or 4 on the list, but it still certainly goes on the list heading into the postseason. 800-990-3776 is the Carbless Talking text line. We'll continue to take your calls, continue to take your texts as the Packers season has come to a close. 22-10. The hands of the Philadelphia Eagles on the road. Fellas, listen up. If you're getting ready to take that next step in life and propose, the Jewelry Center, it's got to be the first stop. Whether it's naturally mined or lab-grown diamonds, the Jewelry Center has options for it all. Maybe you don't know exactly what kind of ring that special someone wants, but if they have a Pinterest board or ideas, bring it to the Jewelry Center. Their team of experts will help take your ideas from a dream to a reality. Look, the team that Dean, the Dancing Machine, has put together over at the Jewelry Center, always going to point you in the right direction, whether it's for something like this, if you want to propose, or if it's like a gift. Chewy was so giddy with the gift that he got his wife for Christmas from the Jewelry Center. He couldn't wait for Christmas to give it to her, had to give it to her early, because that's how good the Jewelry Center is. Learn more about their engagement ring selection or any other services. Shop TJC.com. Stop in today at any one of their 3 locations, Greenfield, Brookfield, or in Burlington. Just make sure when you go to the Jewelry Center, you tell them that Gabe and Chew sent you.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
Do you want to have more fun watching the NFL playoffs? Try playing Sleeper Picks. Just download the Sleeper app today and pick more or less on at least 2 players' projected stats. You can win up to 100 times your cash. For a limited time, Sleeper has a special offer. New users have to just play $5 and they'll receive $55 in free entries. Just download the Sleeper app today and use code BRAD, B-R-A-D. Must be 18 years or older. Promo code, location, other restrictions apply. Minimum deposit $25. See terms of use for details. Please play responsibly. Call 1-800-426-2537 for help.
James Imaging Systems. Local support, local accountability, local business technology representatives. Listen to Matheson Manufacturing President Al Leidinger.
She still checks in to see how things are going and if we need anything. So I really do appreciate that from a customer service standpoint.
Michael Quizon, IT Systems Administrator at Great Midwest Bank, discovered the benefits of working with the local team at James.
Our cost from supplies perspective went down. I mean, we're talking about thousands in a year. So we saved a lot of money by bringing James Imaging on.
James Imaging Systems client Luther Gray, Director of Ticket Operations and Group Sales with the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra, on dealing with James.
They are making sure you get the full value and life of every product that you have with them.
Local support, local accountability, local people. Get it all with James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com.
Time out. Your body goals don't have an off season. GNC is ready to help you get a stronger start on the new year with help building more muscle and proven weight loss support. Need a boost? We're ready with GNC vitamins for your longest winter days. Want the best energy drinks? They're at GNC. Never tried creatine before? Get ready to be amazed. GNC coaches are ready to help you in stores everywhere, and you can shop our full collection of flavors and online exclusives at GNC.com. GNC, live well.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
We're getting crushed out here. What's going on with you, Nick? You used to be the unstoppable king of flag football.
I'm feeling my age. At 40, I feel like I can't keep up anymore.
Is it lower testosterone?
Lower T?
Yeah. When you turn 40, you have less testosterone. It's harder to stay lean and get the same results you used to get. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I know Nugenix. It really gives you an edge.
No question. At work, the gym, the bedroom, Nugenix turned back the clocks. Now I've got the same energy that I did in my 20s.
I want to try Nugenix.
All right, time out. Guys, go text Nugenix and get yourselves a complimentary bottle to try.
Text AREA to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone-boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text AREA to 42424. That's AREA to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
What operating system does a Chewy computer run on?
I believe it's a Cat 14.
It's a COS. It's a Chewy operating system.
I was thinking Windows 98.
Yeah, very similar.
It's dial-up. Let me get my modem.
Chewy.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Talking text line 800-990-3776. Packers season is over. Out in the wild card round, earliest they've ever been out when they've qualified for the postseason under Matt LaFleur. Let's go out to Jason in Minnesota. Jason, you're up next. It's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Hey, dudes.
What's up, bro?
I like that bumper music right there. The bumper music is like introspection, you know, and that seems to be the phase we're moving in for the next long, dreary 8 months of off season. I'm okay. I got a lot to say. I'll try to be concise. LaFleur is a problem. I think we all need to set up an altar and start making sacrifices to the football gods, that this man takes a long, hard look in the mirror and realizes that he's not a good play caller. He just ain't it. And he said last season at the end that everything was on the table. And right now, I'm just hoping and praying that he sees the light. He's terrible third down play calling. Like that third down play, the time it took him to get there, and then that play call, like loaded box and running the ball. Like, what are you doing, man? And like if Jacobs wasn't even in there at that point, and our other backs are bruisers too. There's a problem with LaFleur, his inability to make adjustments. Like it takes him so long to make adjustments. And when what he's doing isn't working, it just goes 3 and out. And there's so many things wrong. These sweet outside motions, these outside tosses, wide receiver screens, firing it down the field, like all the bread and butter plays that Chewy, I think, wants to see, that we all want to see, are just not there, and he won't do them. So either we have a serious talent deficiency where guys can't get open and shed win their one-on-one matchups, as it were. I don't think, we need a lot more out of Love. He's not seeing it clearly. But there's something about the nature of Jacobs as the running back and a power running back and how they run with him, trying, like the first caller said, to marry that to what the pass-catching game could be, that they can't do. And when Malik Willis was in there, they did it better. So it's like LaFleur is expecting something. He's trying to utilize Love and Love's skill set in a way that doesn't jive with Jacobs and his skill set. And we really would have been better off with Aaron Jones. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We let Jones walk. Jacobs was not that much more productive than Jones this year.
He was.
And the rest of the offense was way less
Jason, that's where you're just wrong. Like, he had a top 5 season in the history of the Green Bay Packers for running back. That's how good Josh Jacobs was this season.
And what did he do?
And maybe we don't appreciate it. Maybe we don't appreciate how good Josh Jacobs was this year because it is such a passing game. But, like, Jacobs was better than Aaron Jones.
How many snaps did he miss?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to be healthy and be out there and be consistent and be relied upon.
Let me here was our philosophy back in the day, right? And I don't know if you don't see bread and butters from LaFleur is because he's actually changing the structure of the offense week in and week out and putting in new plays. This is what we did, okay? We would play a game and run our plays out of a personnel in a formation, okay? We might not come back to that play the following week, but the next week we would run the same play out of different personnel in different formations. Mm-hmm. That's what we would do. Well, so you would see bread and butters, Gabe. You'd see us run it 1 week in regular, which is 2 receivers, 1 tight end, 2 backs. And then 2 weeks later, you'd see us run it out of 2 tight ends, 2 receivers, and 1 back. Right?
Yeah.
And that's how constantly we change. We didn't change our plays every week. And that's why when we played, be like, that's the same play they ran out of zebra the week before. They just changed up and they ran motion with it and things like that. That's how we did it. That's why you could see bread and butters. Okay? Now, if LaFleur, if you want a 50-50 split, run pass, you have to change the way you block play action. Because these players today are too smart. And what they do is they look for the uncovered player, right? They look for the uncovered player. Now, they know that they're a single block offense, right? And they don't like the combination block like we did back in the day. So they're looking right at that guard, right? They're looking right at that guard. And if they're telling that guard to hide and go to the double team to hide, players are smart enough to go, hold it. They don't do that. They don't do that. And why would I come up for the run when they don't do that? They're smart. They're not stupid. And the biggest thing were, back in my day when you play against a 4-3, is the guards were uncovered, so they had to hide and you had to fire out.
The one thing I will say about Malik Willis, Malik looked great in there. Malik was also doing it against the AFC South, which outside of the Houston Texans was stinky.
Let me just
and they just didn't want to run the ball. I mean, pass the ball.
Correct.
It was run the ball until we're forced to pass it.
Yes.
Let me throw, you guys chew on this before we go to break.
Gee, who are you?
What the hell's going on,
big guy?
2025, and Chewy's just going to be like, hey, you know what? Clear out, guys. I've got the tease before we go to break. What the hell's going on out there?
Does Jordan need to run the ball more?
It's a good question. We'll answer that. 2 minutes. Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
We're starting starting to see some slowdowns on eastbound 94 coming out from Highway 164 all the way to about Blue Mound Road. Back on the brakes from 92nd Street all the way through to Hawley Road. Westbound 94 is backed up from about 25th Street all the way past Hawley Road as well, almost all the way to 68th Street. And then along southbound 43, backing up from Silver Spring all the way down past North Avenue. Traffic is brought to you by the Neal Group. They know how to minimize your taxes to keep more money in your pocket. Visit nealgroup.net to learn more. That's nealgroup.net. And check the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Morning flurries becoming mostly sunny, breezy, very cold with a high of 17, wind chills of 0 to 10 below. Then tonight, clear and cold with the low of 4 at the lakefront, 1 below inland with wind chills of 10 below to 20 below. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
This time of year can be really tough on a number of areas in your home. If you're struggling with any electrical issues, the superheroes at Current Electric are ready to help you. Chuck Smith is a Brookfield Central grad who started Current Electric over 40 years ago. His mission was to serve our community with integrity and quality. Whether it's as small as a switch repair or as large as rewiring your entire home to a generator to keep your lights on or even interest in solar energy, call on the superheroes from Current Electric. Go to callcurrent.com. That's callcurrent.com.
Ready for a win? Well, it's your year. At Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee, you could win over $2,000 in free play every month all year long. Just play your favorite games and you might take the stage in the It's Your Year game show. 25 winners each Thursday. There's $300,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs this January. Yeah, we think it's your year. More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old to play.
Hey, this is Jen Latta. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. Showtime. The right way to start your day. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Gets tacked up for the third. I think the ball came out there. Who's going to come out of it? Eagles say they have it. Hurts on second down. Four-man rush. Has a lot of time. Looking. Throw it, end zone. For the touchdown, Jahan Dotson. Going to take a shot, going deep down the far side, and intercepted. Darius Slay.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
6-1. Now it's intercepted. Saquon has it. On the give inside. Jacobs breaks the tackle. Straight ahead he goes. Josh Jacobs taking everyone with him inside the 5, and he's down. Here's Ludlow, last gasp attempt. Going deep down the field in the double coverage. It's intercepted. Picked off by Quinyon Mitchell, the third pick of the day for Philly.
We've been here before. It sucks. It's not fun. It's not fun being in that locker room after a game. And, it sucks.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamara. Here's Jen Latta.
We're going to answer Chewy's question in a second. Should Jordan Love be running more? But there is a text on the Carpless Talk and text line 800-990-3776. List is more. Matt in Lake Mills, sick of people saying Matt LaFleur is a bum. Areas of improvement for sure, but he has one of the best records in NFL history to start a career. That doesn't happen by accident.
I agree.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, Gabe and I were talking in the break.
Totally agree.
The past 3 games for Matt LaFleur have not been good in terms of play calling, what he's got going. There's many factors that go into it. He is culpable himself. But to throw the baby out with the bathwater, one of the best play callers in all the NFL, because of a rough stretch, I think is overreacting. Like, we can be critical of him.
Yep.
Needs to be better.
Yep.
Period. Next sentence. We also, what better option is there out there?
We all agree that Jordan Love needs to be better. We all agree that they need better options catching passes. This team still finished 8th in points, 5th in yards offensively. So I think Matt LaFleur deserves some of that credit. But, again, does he need to be better? Does it need to get better? Yes. Do I think he needs to give up play calling? I do not. Because Adam Stenavich has never done it.
No. But he's got he's like James Franklin this year. You know what I mean?
Please explain, because I don't.
I can't win big
You're
ones.
0-6. Yeah. You were 0-6 against good teams. what's James Franklin, like 1-19 against games that really matter? Who cares what you do against the Saints, right? Am I right?
The Franklin thing doesn't make a whole lot of sense because last year's team went into Kansas City and Detroit and smoked them. Like
I'm saying this year team, and let me tie this in, Joshy. Tying it in from the standpoint. I'm going to tie it in from the standpoint, and I really believe this. LaFleur wants to throw the ball 60-40, and he doesn't, and it'll take a little time. He doesn't know how to call the offense when it's a 50-50 split. Like when it's a 50-50 split and you throw three play action, that is weird to me. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. I would have 3 play action passes called for me in a game.
Yeah. What you get?
Maybe sometimes even more than that.
True, and I think that's a fair criticism, and it's just you don't have to. But again, I think you can make that criticism without saying, got to replace Matt LaFleur as the play caller.
Yeah. Oh, no.
You know?
But he needs to go a deep dive and probably go and talk to some people, which they do, and do a lot of film study and be like, I need to be better with a 50-50 split.
Yeah, if that's the way we have to win.
50-50 split, Gabe, with a 50-50 split, it should be 10 play action passes a game. It should be. Because play action is easier than drop back. If you're good, and they're good at running the ball, which would make you tend to believe that your play action pass would be almost better than your 5-step drop back. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It feels like there's a missing piece of the equation to that play action stuff. It feels like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're going to blame Jordan Love's leg not able to drop back and fire, but there's something there that doesn't make sense totally.
So to that, when Chewy said, does Jordan need to run more? One of the things that Jordan said, because he was asked after the game last night about his knee. Not about it. He was asked about his elbow eventually, but the first question about an injury was, hey, are you going to need like an off-season procedure on the knee to clean it up? And he talked about how, it's one of those things that you play through. Like it hasn't really bothered him. It probably bothered his mechanics early, but also they changed a lot of their play calling when he came back because they didn't want him booting out. They didn't want him running. So my guess, if I had to guess, Chew, I think we see him run a little bit more next year. I think maybe we see some of more of those boots next year because they made the adjustment to injure Jordan Love. And then for whatever reason, as he got healthier as the season went along, for whatever reason, never changed it back. Never got back to some of those play actions where you're booting out, moving the pocket, putting him in a position where he gets an easy completion. Maybe he can tuck it and run. But I don't know why they didn't make the adjustment back, but it was one of the things that stuck out to me when he was speaking at the podium last night.
I don't know. It's just I think he's really good at boots.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't match up the fact that they have a very good running game. And they haven't booted in a while and they don't do it well. Now I think they're beating a dead horse when it comes to the jet sweeps. Right? I mean, it's a little much. And I understand they have it in the game plan every week, but I mean, every running play that we had a play action pass off of it.
Mm-hmm.
It did. Whether it's a boot, whether it's a Fox 2XY hook, whether it's a slant, but every running play we had is married not only with one, some had 3 play action passes off of that run. And I just don't see it. I just think he needs to go back and I don't know who the hell you'd study, but you'd be like, okay, I get it now. I get it when they're calling play action. I get it what they're doing. I need to add this play off of this specific run. Like we had, tight end screens. And I think they do a little bit.
They tried to run one yesterday, got snuffed out.
You come out the boot, you put the brakes on, you throw it back, or I don't know. But something certainly wasn't working yesterday, and I hadn't really felt good about this passing game all year long.
Which is, again, fair. 1 300-yard game for Jordan Love this season. That was it.
Yeah.
And he had a bunch down the stretch last year when they were able to kind of marry all this stuff together. Let's go out to 800-990-3776, the Carbos Talking text line. Sorrell in Milwaukee, you're up next on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
What's up, fellas? How you doing this morning? I know I sound cheery. I'm excited to speak to you guys for the first time, but what a somber day.
That's all right.
Listen,
I mean, you can have two thoughts in your head going on at the same time, Sorrell.
Yeah, I can be multifaceted. First off, this is how depressed I am. I'm a high school teacher. I teach high school math. I called in today. I said I'm out sick. When really I'm broken freaking heart. What do you want me to say?
Should you be in class, man?
Love hurts.
I'm glad you
I hope
called in.
none of my students are listening. I hope my boss isn't listening. But it is a Black Monday. Check this out. I want to credit Chewy first off because you guys don't do enough of that.
What?
And I want to let you know too that I think there's merit to the idea that Jordan Love can stand to be a little more dynamic. I understand that it's probably not a part of his physical attributes to be a scrambler, but just the mere threat of being able to scramble might actually present another layer to their offense. It's either his arm or it's not, and his arm is a little inconsistent. I marvel at the kid. I think he's a unit. I think he has potential. Mm-hmm. But, it's time for us to see some growth. I credit most of the mishaps and most of the strained growth this year to his strained growth, frankly, because we know how it goes. The quarterback aligns with the success of the team. Last but not least, Chewy, before we left for break, you said something about telling the guys to chew on this before we leave. That is a heck of a segment name if you guys think about it. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you, fellas.
Thanks, Sorrell. I think that's going to be tough to beat for Call of the Year. Like, not to put pressure on everybody else, but Sorrell called in. He let us know that he called in sick this morning to work, and then he immediately pivots to giving Chew credit. Like, that was fantastic.
What's wrong with that?
Do we really not give you enough credit?
No, you don't.
I think you give yourself enough credit.
What's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with a little self-promotion. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Instagram.
Yeah,
I don't have TikTok.
What would Charlene say?
Self-praise stink PU.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, but Charlene doesn't listen, so.
Back out to the Cardinals Talking text line, 800-990-3776. Jason in Hales Corners, you're up next. It's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Thanks for taking my call, guys. I just want to say this. I think we just need to take a step back and, breathe a little bit. Obviously it wasn't the season that how we wanted to end, but there's a lot of positives. I mean, Jordan Love came back from a injury, performed well, I thought. And then Josh Jacobs, what a bright spot on our team. Going forward, I think, Gabe, you're right. I think we need maybe a veteran wideout to help these young guys, step forward a little bit, give them the ropes. And then last thing, is there's always next year. Let's hope we can sign some guys on defense, maybe get a free agent wideout, and we've got next year. So thanks, guys. You have a great weekend, and love talking and love hearing to you guys.
Yeah, certainly appreciate the call, Jason. And, yeah, I think there were some good things to still take from the season. That doesn't mean you can't be disappointed with how it ended with 3 straight losses, right? Because this team was flying high after the shutout against New Orleans, and then you lose 3 in a row, and especially the last 2, to kind of go out with a whimper against Chicago and then scoring 10 points in your playoff game.
Yeah, like next year, come preseason, they're going to be in the top 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you're in the top 10, you have a shot. But let's not be naive. There are holes.
Yes. Yes.
And some of them are pretty good-sized holes that has to be addressed.
I think I would say everyone here, if I could speak for us all, we're optimistic about the future, but we also know there is work to do. There is a lot of work to do, but as is with every other team that's going to eventually end up losing in the playoffs. Like, there are deficiencies on all teams. You just have to be able to accentuate your strengths and fill the gaps where you can.
Some questions were answered in a positive light this year. Like, when was the last time we felt this good about linebackers and safeties and a defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers? Yes, there are still things they have to fill, defensive line, cornerback, but they've got a couple of tough spots that they've had trouble filling over the last decade.
And let me ask you guys a question, and take the draft out of it, because the draft is such a hit or miss, right? Take the draft out of it, okay? Because look at Morgan, look at Ness. You don't know what you're going to get from those guys. So I'm strictly talking free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And the holes are receiver, D-line, and cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
Prioritize those going into next year.
I think I might be in the minority. I think receiver should be number one.
I'm right there with you.
I think I would say receiver is number one. I would like D-line to be two. I know how difficult then can be to fill because the guys who are generally great pass rushers aren't let go by their team, right? You're going to have to take a gamble on someone. So yeah. I think pass rushers 2, and I would say corners 3, but I would not be shocked if they are unable to fill through free agency the pass rusher gap.
That's I'm right there with you because you saw yesterday what creating pressure does with 4. Mm-hmm. The Eagles blitzed one time.
Yeah.
Okay? And the Packers offense did nothing. So I'm with you, Gabe. I'm like, you got to get D-line and then...
But the problem is, like, it's got to marry up, too. Like, I just don't know... like the Ojulari guy from the Giants. I was looking at a free agency list earlier this morning. Like I think Bleacher Report had him in the top 10. I don't know how well he fits with the Packers because he's so undersized. Like I don't know how often you can put him out there as a 4-3 defensive end and expect him to be able to hold up. I mean, he's like 255 pounds. Like that's not going to hold up in the run game. So do you want to spend a bunch of money on a guy who's like basically a third down specialist? So that's the problem that they have, I think, Chew, when it comes to the pass rusher.
I can tell you it's either going to be somehow trying to acquire somebody that's already on a team, or it's the draft. That they draft edge guys like they're going on a style.
Yes,
that's just how they build the team.
And unfortunately, it takes those guys a while to develop.
I mean, they're never going to admit that they have to have a number one receiver. You think deep down they're like,
I think, Chewy...
I don't want to say a failed experiment.
Chewy, I don't think that they'll admit it with their words.
Yes, actions.
But they'll admit it with their actions this offseason.
Okay, so you think they're going to do something.
They have to. Because...
I bet they draft one still. I bet they continue
Yeah, but I'm talking... Yeah, but it's going to be... They're going to be, 28?
20. No, it'll be 24. Because they lost in the first round.
Mock draft. I'll look it up.
Yeah, they lost in the first round. So like they're not going to be on the back end. They're going to be more toward the front end of the 20s because they lost this game.
Yeah.
So they'll be higher than they did a year ago. But again, it's going to be tough to have that and those people, kind of fill in those gaps. But yeah, I think that yes, while they draft one, there are going to be some wide receivers they could potentially go after that could help out this team next year. Rob Demovsky is going to react with us. He was in Philadelphia. He also had an incident that we need to discuss with him. Chewy, I'm sure you're unaware of it. I can't wait till you hear what Rob did yesterday.
No, I saw it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how you saw it, but be that as it may, we talk with Rob Demovsky coming up next. But first, I do want to tell you about our friends at X Golf at American Family Field. I cannot wait to get out there for my league night on Wednesday, but maybe that's a place you need to be heading out to because it's open year-round. Inside the ballpark, great view overlooking left field with the state-of-the-art simulators that X Golf is known for. You can go in, work on your game, maybe going around lunch, be able to, sneak in a few swings on the driving range, couple of holes, and make sure your game stays sharp all season long. Or maybe before we hit the spring, you know what? I need to get better. I need to take some lessons. Andy Barrett, their PGA Pro, will get you going in the right direction. Book your sim time today. Find out more. xgolf.amfamfield.com.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
Well, we had an earlier accident on northbound 4394 just north of the Plainfield curve. Looks like it got cleared up, just a car left over, so careful with that. Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit tight heading through past Oklahoma Avenue. Eastbound 94 slowing down east of 84th Street to Hawley Road, and then westbound's backed up from 27th Street to the Stadium interchange. And southbound 43 is heavy from before Hampton all the way down past Capitol Drive. Traffic is brought to you by James Imaging Systems, your local document imaging partner, dedicated to helping businesses do business better. Visit jamesimaging.com. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Morning flurries becoming mostly sunny, breezy, very cold, a high of 17, with wind chills from 0 to 10 below. Tonight, clear and cold, a low of 4 at the lakefront, 1 below inland, with a wind chill of 10 below to 20 below. Weather is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank, custom solutions built around your goals, member FDIC. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Kevin Moret for Mentality. Most new Mentality clients are stuck running on just 1/3 of the free testosterone they need, and that's why nothing feels right. You're drained, frustrated, and stuck in a body that won't respond to diet or exercise. But it's not your fault. Mentality's doctors specialize in fixing the imbalance. When your free testosterone is restored, everything changes. Your strength, your energy, and drive all come roaring back. Start the year strong with our New Year's offer at mentalityhealth.com/radio. That's mentalityhealth.com/radio.
Confidence and strength begin with how you feel. At Quintessa Aesthetic Center, it is not about just looking good. It's about results that last and empower you. With 5 convenient locations in Delafield, Mequon, Brookfield, Middleton, and Sheboygan, their team of world-class plastic surgeons, skilled clinicians, and expert estheticians are here to help you take control. Whether it's advanced skincare, anti-aging treatments, body contouring, or muscle strengthening, Quintessa has everything you need to sharpen your image and boost your confidence. Take the first step towards a stronger, more confident you. Visit myquintessa.com today.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1225. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1225. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1225. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-777-1225. 800-777-1225 or biglou.com.
Join the roar of 18,000 Bucs fans at Fiserv Forum and be a part of the slam dunks, game-changing plays, and electrifying victories live. Witness the edge-of-your-seat action and unforgettable moments as they happen. You don't want to miss this. Grab your calendar, handpick your favorite matchups, and secure your seats for Dame time in Milwaukee and every incredible moment that comes next at Bucs.com/tickets. That's Bucs.com/tickets.
We need a new intro for this year, though.
Consider it done, Rob.
ESPN's #1 source for green and gold information.
The game has to be a continuation of the trend they're on. They can't just sort of go in on a level that, they've been at. They probably do need to play their best game, but I do think it's trending in the right direction.
A prolific golfer.
I was overly harsh about Gabe's golf game because I played terrible yesterday.
And noted hoops head.
If you shoot 60% from the free throw line, you're a bad free throw shooter. If you're 60% in the red zone, I don't think that's good.
It's Rob Demovsky time on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
This better be a great segment.
Excited to talk to our guy, Rob Demovsky, ESPN NFL Nation Packers reporter. Jen Latta along for the ride the rest of the way here as well.
Good morning. Wait, hold on. Morning.
I don't know. Sorrell... We just had a caller, Rob, that made my day. Sorrell called in. Maybe I shouldn't keep saying his name in case somebody is listening. He's apparently a math teacher.
I heard it. Yeah, I heard it, Gabe. He called in sick today.
Made
good
my
for
day.
him, man.
Made my day.
Well, you got to prioritize your mental health.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's clearly what this gentleman who will remain nameless from here on out is
Can't
doing.
be teaching the youth of America when you're upset because the Packers season came to a close yesterday. Rob, why did Jordan Love struggle so much in the final 3 games?
Yeah, I don't think offensively they did anything overly dynamic, too, like that. You got to help your quarterback with play calling, game plans, and I don't think they were very good from a coaching perspective, over the last couple of weeks. And then Jordan wasn't very good either. I don't think there's any question that, this year was not a step forward for him. I don't want to know that I would say, regression might, it's a word you're going to hear a lot probably over the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure if it was regression or he just didn't take another step. And, that's where, he's going to have to get a lot better in year 3 as a starter. And Matt LaFleur is going to have to spend, a lot of time this offseason trying to figure out how they get this offense more dynamic. And that may those conversations may also need to include the general manager as well in terms of trying to get a few more dynamic, or at least one more dynamic weapons on offense.
Rob, do you think it's as simple as LaFleur just doesn't know how to call plays when it's a 50-50 split run pass? Because yesterday, rushing the ball is the one thing they did pretty well. But then again, he only throws three play action passes. It just doesn't marry up.
Yeah, the interesting thing, too, and I don't know if you guys talked about this, but the Eagles basically never blitzed. I mean, I think they blitzed one time, and Love was not under duress very much either. I think it was like technically on the ESPN stats and info, he's only under duress, meaning, pressured, where it was a problem 5 times yesterday, which is you should be able to, do a lot more in that situation. However, part of the play action, it's a little bit like the screen game, right, Chewy? It's like you have to time it up at the right time.
Yeah.
And, when a team's not blitzing or sending more than 4, sometimes that can be really difficult for a play caller to try to figure out when is the right time, because if, the other thing too, though, like early on in the game, and I don't know if this held true the whole game, but early on in the game, they were loading the box pretty heavily against the Packers, and I don't think they had answers, for that right away.
Rob, on the other side of the ball, it seemed like Jeff Hafley called his best game with his guys. Should there be optimism that will continue growing? I mean, I got to be honest, I loved when they put out the list of who was starting where. I loved it. I was like licking my chops going, this is exactly the lineup that we wanted to see from the defense. Even though Eric Stokes has been playing well, nice to see that they didn't have to rely on him out there in that position. Right. How much optimism should we have about what the defense did, the progress that they made throughout the season, and can that carry me over the next few weeks? Because there is going to be a hangover about how bad the offense looked.
Yeah. Well, two things, Jen. One, I sort of feel like what you feel about the defense right now is what you felt about Jordan Love at this time last year, right? And well, as we just talked about, it didn't take a step. We feel good about the defense now, and maybe our expectations weren't very high, but the defense obviously did a really good job. But again, it can't. It has to evolve as well. And then 2, I feel like we've been here a couple times before. This game reminded me a lot of that 13-10 playoff game against the Niners in the divisional round, where the defense actually played pretty well in a playoff game, and the special teams and the offense let them down, right? So, but I do think in general they're going in the right direction. The problem is I just don't think you can live in a defensive backfield that features Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine as your outside corners, and then you have Eric Stokes behind them. To me, that is not sustainable. And I'm not saying this is 1999 when they drafted 3 corners because Randy Moss came into the league, but to me, I think corner is probably the number 1 draft priority. Or free agent corners don't just come walking in. So. I think corner is a huge need.
Is it harder, as we talk with Rob Demovsky, ESPN NFL Nation Packers reporter here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, is it harder for quarterbacks to improve in the offseason because of the way coaches are limited? I remember when Rodgers was younger and he was able to go through the McCarthy quarterback camp that he liked to 100%. Put on.
I completely 100% agree with that. Players probably don't want to hear that because, they don't want to. Those things started in February, Gabe.
Yeah.
The off season's completely changed. Now that's same for everybody. But if you're dealing with a quarterback who, is still young, and Jordan is still young, there's no chance for that to be the time that they make those strides. That doesn't mean you can't make them. Heck, there's plenty of good quarterbacks that have, has started strong, regressed a little bit, and then took off in year 3. I think year 3 obviously is going to be huge for Jordan to see what he can do, but they also need to help him a little bit. And we talked all off season and really all throughout the year about how do they have a number 1 receiver / do they need a number 1 receiver? The answer right now has to be no, and probably yes to those 2 questions.
Rob, is it just as simple as Philly's better? When we used to go play Dallas in the 90s and be we lost, but They're better. They're better. They're better.
Yeah, Chewy, here's the thing. Like, this is a good football team, but it's not a great team, and it's not good enough to beat, to beat the teams that they. I mean, look at the numbers when they were, they were 9-1 against non-playoff teams, and their point differential. I tweeted this earlier. Their point differential turnover margins were way, way in the plus. They were 2-6 against playoff teams, with the 2 wins coming against Houston and LA earlier in the year. And in those 8 games, they were like -6 turnover, and their point margin was like -3.4, which actually tells you that they're not that far off in those games. It's not like they they were getting blown out, although some of them they were blown out early and made it close at the end. But yes, it's a good team, not a great team. And I for one fell into a trap of they're good. They've been so close that I thought they could win the game yesterday. I mean, Gabe was on the pregame show. I gave him a 50-50, better than 50-50 shot to win. And I can tell you this, the Packers people thought they were winning this game. Like, I talked to one Packers front office person before the game and said, if we play a clean game, we win by 2 touchdowns. And guess what? The first play of the game was dirty. It was the opposite of clean.
Yeah, what a mess.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out the LaFleur thing, because I know Chewy and Gabe have been talking about it this morning. But to me, there's a difference between like being a good play caller and being a good sequencer. And I'm wondering if Matt LaFleur has struggled with sequencing plays. Hear me out. He can draw them up with the best of them, right? We love the motion. We love the creativity. But I think there's a sequencing issue as far as when you're calling certain plays and helping your guys get into an offensive rhythm. Am I off on that, Rob?
Well, and the rhythm was the word that was coming to mind when you were asking that, Jen. I think because that's it. When it's in a rhythm, it looks easy, and when it's not, it looks like it's it's moving in concrete. I'm not saying this is the case for sure, but I would kind of like to talk to people around the league and ask them if people have figured out the LaFleur, Shanahan, the McVay offense a little bit. And as you know, Chewy, if you don't evolve offensively, this is this was year 6, right? So we're going into year 7. And if you don't evolve offensively, teams catch up to you. And I truly believe that's a little bit of what happened near the end of the Mike McCarthy era. It's not that his offense wasn't good anymore. It's that teams figured it out and they didn't change. And, this is going to be year 7. And I understand they don't just pull out a folder from, Philadelphia in 2021 and change the date and run the same play. But the base of your offense and the concepts, if they don't change and they don't evolve, this is what happens. And I wonder if that's a little bit of what has sort of happened to the Packers offense, late in the year this year.
Rob, we'll have plenty of time the rest of this offseason to go over what went wrong, what they can do better. I'm sure we'll see you up at the draft, later this April. So before we let you go, because I know you've got a flight to catch.
Yep.
What the hell happened to you in Philly yesterday, man? You had an incident. You weren't the only one. The Packers weren't the only one who had an incident yesterday. What happened with you, bud?
I assume you're talking about the late game interaction with the very, very lovely woman who was sitting in front of the press.
Yes. Yes, there was reporting from the Packers beat on you yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's, sometimes you got to take a stand.
So what was going on?
Okay, so the press box, and so I'll try to make this as quick as possible. The press box, in Philly is it's unusually low in terms of, like, it's right behind a section of fans. Usually we're, like, pretty high up, and the fans are, you look down and you're looking right down into somebody's beer glass. Well, these people, their heads are basically right at the level of our computers. So these, and it's always the case here. These fans turn around and they look in the press box and they start yelling at people. And there was this one Philadelphia Eagles fan, female, who just the whole game was turning around yelling at the Packers front office people. Robert Saleh was sitting like right behind me. It's the first time I've seen Saleh at a game this year. It was Saleh, Gutekunst, Russ Ball, Ed Policy right behind us, and then in the front row it was all the beat and TV people and radio people. And for whatever reason, this woman locked onto the fact that there were about 6 or 7 of us, myself included, who were bald. And she kept turning around. I think it started with Saleh, because she kept trying to get Saleh's attention the whole game, yelling at him. Hey, you. Finally, she just started saying, look at all you bald MFers. So she just started screaming. And at this point, I'm trying to file my game. We have to file something for ESPN.com that posts at the end of the game. Like it's about a 500-600 word recap that you're banging out, and you know, for whatever reason, like you could hear this woman really well, and she finally just was like, she started pointing down the line, and she goes, bald, 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 and I finally said, sit down and shut the blank up, and I banged I banged on the press box window. And like you know, I've told you guys before, it's quiet in the press box, and I think like I kind of didn't want to turn over my shoulder, but I almost felt like from behind Robert Saleh was giving me an attaboy. But I had enough of her.
That's awesome. We appreciate that, Rob. We appreciate the story, and I'm sure we'll talk to you at some point during the offseason, especially, you know, maybe up in Green Bay for the draft.
Well, I enjoyed this. This definitely made Monday mornings a lot of fun, so I enjoyed it, and keep doing what you guys are doing, and hopefully, what's his name, whose name we cannot mention, goes back to work tomorrow, and educates the youth of our of the Milwaukee area.
Appreciate it. Rob Demovsky, ESPN NFL Nation Packers reporter, has joined us after every Packers game throughout the course of the season.
So I have a question for everybody out there. If you could do what our unnamed loyal listener did, how many days would you take off to recover from this loss? I could go for 4 right now. 4 days off. I got a hangover. I am frustrated. I am upset. I am despondent. I got all the things happening today, and mostly because of the way the offense underperformed. I would take 4 days. How many would you take? And I know you don't ever take time off, but how many days would you take off to recover from this loss?
A couple hours.
What?
To say this is a 0. This hardly registers.
Are you serious?
For playoff frustrations? Oh, God. This was
rough.
This is like not even top 10.
The only thing that is saving me this morning is that I was standing on the tracks and I saw the train. We saw the train when they played Minnesota. We saw the train when they played the Bears. I knew the train was coming. I knew I was going to get hit by the train, but I stood on the damn tracks.
Yeah, I mean, last year against San Fran probably ranks higher than this. And it felt good coming out of it. Yeah, this is way down on the list.
Is it because you saw it coming, though?
No,
because on next year.
I mean, this just wasn't. I mean, they were the 7th seed. They just weren't good enough.
But they were the 7th seed last year.
Yeah, they were playing better going in.
So when you're saying they weren't good enough, it's because you saw this outcome coming.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, part of it.
But I still didn't think they'd play this bad. I did not think the offense would play this bad yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, this honestly, of the LaFleur era, this is probably the easiest one to digest. The easiest playoff loss to digest.
It's simple when you, Jen, and we talked about it all last week. It's simple as hell. It's simple. They're not good enough. I told you, good teams don't win Super Bowls. Great teams win Super Bowls. They're just good.
Wait. I feel like you've been saying that all season, Chew.
Yeah, I kind of have been. Have we got an apology yet, Gabe? Or no?
I have not seen one on the talking text line, the carbless talking text line. I have not. The first time I see one, Chew, I'll let you know. I'll pass it along.
Let me know.
Wouldn't hold your breath.
It doesn't have to be today. All
right, if somebody wants to apologize tomorrow.
3 weeks.
Carbless Talking text line is always open. You know how much we love Palermo's here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy because they have just so many different brands. Whether it's Palermo's, Urban Pie, Connie, Surfer Boy, Screamin' Sicilian, they are going to have a slice that fits your appetite. I made sure before pregame yesterday, popped one in because it was an easy thing to have before all the football started and kicked off. And there's still plenty of football to go coming up these weekends. So you want to make sure that your freezer is stocked full of Palermo's because football and Palermo's go together. Find them in your grocer's frozen food aisle. Palermo's, flavor is our family's business.
Never miss out on a second of the show. Find Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand. Sponsored by Celsius Essential Energy Drink.
Eastbound 94, still a little bit slow from 84th Street through the stadium interchange in pockets. Southbound on 43 is a little bit slow as well, coming in from just before Hampton down past Capitol Drive. Disabled vehicle northbound 4394 just past the Plainfield curve. That was part of an earlier accident. That's been cleared. Just a few more delays then past that up past Oklahoma Avenue. Traffic is brought to you by the Knickerbocker on the Lake. Discover the Knickerbocker on the Lake, Milwaukee's historic hotel since 1929. Experience elegance, modern comfort, and unforgettable stays. Book now at knickerbockeronthelake.com. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Morning flurries becoming mostly sunny, breezy, very cold, a high of 17, with wind chills from 0 to 10 below. Tonight, clear and cold, a low of 4 at the lakefront, 1 below inland, with a wind chill of 10 below to 20 below. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Football season. Best time of the year and my favorite time of the year. This is ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman. On game days, my favorite teammate is a cold carbless in my hand. Premium cocktails in a can made right here in the great state of Wisconsin. Maybe it's when I'm at the tailgate ahead of kickoff or getting ready at home for the game. Carbless is there. 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and gluten-free. Carbless features classic cocktails like margarita, Paloma, and even Moscow Mule, and vodka cocktail flavors like cranberry, lemon, and peach. Find it on your next grocery trip. Carbless. Less is more.
Winning in the NFL comes down to the basics, blocking and tackling. In retirement, the certainty of protection and income are the keys to success. And as a former NFL player myself, I have experience with both. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons. Having played on winning teams with the Steelers and Falcons, studying game films helped me mentally prepare for the challenges ahead. Now I star in a new Hollywood documentary called The Retirement Deception to help you visualize and prepare for your fourth quarter of life. You see, you don't retire on your nest egg, but rather the income it can produce. This film shows you exactly how to protect your retirement from stock market drops and produce more income than you thought possible. And it's free for you to view. Call 855-620-1801 right now for your free streaming code to watch The Retirement Deception. Don't risk your retirement savings at the goal line. You don't need to be risky to have a winning strategy. Call today to speak with an all-pro retirement specialist to get your free streaming code to watch The Retirement Deception. Call today. 855-620-1801. That's 855-620-1801. MitchLyonsWealth.com. Your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Homer here. I'm inviting you to join me starting August the 9th as we explore the many shades of Ireland with Colette Vacations, a 10-day journey filled with legendary views, historic expeditions, and unforgettable tales. Explore the historic city of Dublin, kiss the famous Blarney Stone, and stand on the spectacular cliffs of Moher. We'll also journey Ireland's breathtaking countryside and follow the stunning coastal route of the Ring of Kerry. We'll experience the daily life of an Irish family with a dairy farm visit and enjoy a taste or two at a historic whiskey distillery. We'll even stay overnight in a medieval castle. Join me for all of the experiences and so many more. All the details are online at ESPNMilwaukeeTravel.com. ESPNMilwaukeeTravel.com. Don't worry about the planning. Colette handles all of the details of the 10-day excursion. Your job, have the time of your life. Don't miss it. Visit ESPNMilwaukeeTravel.com or text Homer to 800-990-3776. The trip of a lifetime awaits.
Who's looking for a deal? Well, Cousin Subs has a better deal just for you. Cousin's new $10 meal deals are now available online only. Choose between a 7.5-inch ham and provolone, turkey breast, or veggie sub, a bag of chips or regular fry, a regular fountain beverage, and cookie at cousinsubs.com or on the mobile app for just $10. Now that's a better deal. Cousin Subs, we believe in better. Available at participating locations only. Offer subject to change without notice.
You're listening to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
You got to have a condiment with the bread.
Yeah, you want some sort of
alone.
Yeah, you want some sort of lubricant with the bread. Yes, that's correct.
Yes,
it's just necessary.
You follow?
Like, you don't just be sitting there eating like pieces of white bread with nothing on it.
Can't be going dry.
Yeah, it can't be raw dog and just white bread.
On 94.5 ESPN.
We do have a couple of apologies on the Carbless Talk and text line. First from Lasagna in Milwaukee. I'm fairly certain that Chewy isn't going to get an apology because most of JGC listeners do understand that the G&G is just good, but on behalf of the Toads, we're sorry.
Wait, lasagna?
Yeah.
That's a boss name. Lasagna in Milwaukee? If you could be a food as your screen name, what would it be?
And then Todd from Illinois. Gabe and Chew are right all year. Not good enough, not deep enough. Need a number one. Should have kept Jones as a 1-2 punch with Josh Jacobs. Bears still suck, and I will apologize for all the homers who were down on Gabe and Chewy. So a couple of apologies there on the Carbless Talk and text line, Chew.
That was nice of them. Very nice.
What was the most frustrated you were yesterday, Jen?
How bad the offense looked. And I had optimism because Jeff Hafley and company seemed to figure something out. You know, I had people who were texting that were like, yeah, but they still can't get pressure with 4. I said, listen, that ship sailed a long time ago. That was not something that was going to happen with this defensive line. But the fact that they were giving Jalen Hurts fits, the fact that it was a 10-point game after the refs gifted that first score to the Eagles, because you saw the replay, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Packers recovered that fumble. Packers recovered that ball.
I guess.
Now, maybe it wasn't indisputable evidence, but, like, get it right. So you're behind the 8 ball, but that doesn't mean you can't fight back. And the fact that it was 10-0 headed into the second half, I was like, oh. And then as they started to lose players, and it was still a close game, it was a 1-score game, I thought, okay, guys, look at the opportunity you have in front of you right now. Like, you got to seize it. And again, Josh Jacobs, like that effort that he had as he, muscled his way to the goal line, almost got in with the extra effort in the stretch. Like, that was sort of putting the offense on his back because he realized that all of his fellow soldiers around him had been taking arrows, and it was only him. He was the only guy who could do it. So my frustration was that you had an opportunity to win that game, albeit the injuries, albeit underperforming, albeit Matt LaFleur calling a weird offense. You had an opportunity. Now, would they have gotten boat raced in the next round? Probably, especially if they played even close to what they played yesterday. But my brother-in-law, Tim, who we've had on the show, Lawyer Tim, sends in a text to me that says, this loss hurts because it feels existential at the head coaching position and at the quarterback spots. Do either one have the ability to be great, or are they just getting the most out of their talent? And I think that's probably what the looming thing is. That's what the cloud is right now, Gabe, is we know that they can be good. We've seen it. Matt LaFleur has been great, albeit with Aaron Rodgers under center and at times when Jordan has been figuring things out. But I think the question is, can either of those two guys take the next step, the necessary step, to be one of the greats in the game? I think that is the question that is hanging over Packers Nation today.
I don't. Go ahead, Chew.
I mean, it hurts, but, we saw this coming. It's like, okay, you're walking into your dark house at night. Someone's going to scare you somewhere. You're prepared for it.
Wait, do you need to up your security system or what? Like, when I walk into my house, I am not scared that somebody is going to pop out of a closet.
Either that or, you should get better family members. And aren't just hiding behind
or maybe this is
kitchen
foreplay.
Counters.
Maybe they just do this for foreplay. Do you and Ange just try to scare each other?
The most frustrating thing for me yesterday, and Burkhardt and Brady said it twice, is this game feels like it should be 75-0, but it wasn't. Mm-hmm. So you were like, okay, come on. It's not, and they kind of played like it was. Right? But to be shocked? No, I'm not shocked. This has holes, and I can tell you this. I don't know if I'm going to push it back another year. And I might, depending on what they do with holes. But like I said, I think they're closer to Washington and Tampa Bay than they are Detroit, Minnesota, and Philly.
I guess I'm just convinced with the offense. I think we're going to be amazed of how much more in sync it looks when you have somebody who can consistently get open and catch the football. Because they don't have that. Who can consistently get open and catch the football? Those are two things you need as a wide receiver, and they don't have it.
If that is your biggest issue with the offense, Gabe, then you need to look at Brian Gutekunst. Then your ire, any level of it, wherever it is on the list, on the chart, should be directed at Gutekunst because he got a whole bunch of receivers, but obviously he didn't get the guy that was going to put this offense over the top.
Yeah, and now you know that. I was okay with the plan going into the season.
Whoa. Did we or did we not know that this was a possibility before the trade deadline? Did we or did we not know that the offense and the wide receivers and the pass catchers might be an Achilles heel before the door closed on adding somebody?
Yeah, maybe.
We knew this before the season started, let alone
But I was okay.
Back in June.
I was okay with letting the 4 young guys potentially try to grow. Didn't work out. That plan didn't work out. They didn't grow. They didn't develop. So now you know that, and now you have to address it. To me, the big crime for Gutekunst will be if it's not addressed this offseason. Then I'm going to get a little ticked off at him. I was okay, because, we saw what they were able to do at the end of last year. Okay, maybe one of these guys is going to develop. Not all 4, but no one really did. And now the one that I believe did is going to be out for God knows how long at the beginning of next year in Christian Watson. because, they're fearful that there's more than just an ACL damage in that knee, and they won't know for sure until they go in and operate.
Well, and to your point about that, the 33rd team put out an article this morning, and they were, again, praising Christian Watson and his effectiveness in this offense and how he made everybody else around him better, and to your point, helped them get open. Now, Christian Watson can't help them catch the ball. The drops were still a major issue for this offense this year. But this says, in theory, Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks should be next man up against man coverage given their skill sets. Reed is a versatile slot receiver who is difficult to bring down after the catch, while Wicks is phenomenal at generating separation as a route runner. However, both receivers had brutal drop rates this season. According to True Media, the two combined for 18 drops this year and were both in the top 5 in the league in drop rate. 2 Packers wide receivers in the top 5 in the league in drop rate amongst qualifying players.
Carbless Talk and text line 800-990-3776. Dave on the east side's been patiently waiting. Dave, you're on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Hey, thank you very much for having me. Hope you're having a great day. For sure. Well, that's kind of a. We're not having a great day. That was foot and mouth. Let me take it out. But the caller, what was the gentleman's name earlier on that took a different route this morning than the normal route to be with his work?
No, we're not saying.
We're protecting his identity for him.
John Doe.
Yeah, John Doe.
He hung up on a great note because he said, he gave Chewy a compliment. And I don't know if he meant this or not, but this would be great because, Chew, you took over the show and you laid down a ramp like a teaser beforehand. Think about this. Chew on This is a segment as a teaser to give Chew once a day, once a week, whatever. And just before break, Chew come up with something, and you leave it with Chew on This.
Yeah, I feel like we've done that before, haven't we, guys?
You should be part of our content
Haven't we had that conversation here before?
Okay, well, let me just... And again, great idea, Dave. Fantastic idea. Chew, are you on board?
Yeah.
Do you want to do that work?
Extra work?
I ain't doing the work. I came up with the idea. I contributed
the idea.
It has your name in it.
It's not Gabe on this. That doesn't make any sense.
So what am I supposed to do with it? Where do we go from here?
Come up with a plan.
I don't handle logistics. I am not a logistics guy.
In fact,
you need something heavy.
We're very
You need heavy lifting. You need me to drive an 18-wheeler.
How is that helping with the radio show?
Snow?
How is you being able to drive an 18-wheeler going to help us as a radio show?
I don't think you
I'm just saying. I'm a legwork guy. I'm a grunt guy. I'm not the brain. Well, am I the brains of this operation? No.
He's the deep thinker.
As the waves lightly lap against the shores of his home in Florida.
He's the grunt worker.
And speaking of names that would really work for this program, you're Della Gabe. That's what you are.
Delegate. Yeah, that's good.
We delegate.
We got
everything.
Jen Sada, Della Gabe, and Chew on This. We need what do we got for Joshy?
I don't know. We need to go to break.
Yeah.
Nothing?
Well, I'm going to listen to Josh. Yeah, Chew on This. We'll give our final thoughts next. Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Are you heading into the new year with the same old joint pain? Or maybe you experienced a new injury that gives you joint pain that is nagging you. Hey, this is ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman. There is no better time than the start of the year to refresh, renew, and say no to that joint pain. QC Kinetics is your go-to solution to get moving again in 2025. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine and joint preservation. They are right here in Greenfield and Mequon under the leadership of Medical Director Dr. Ashley Caravelli. When I visited the Greenfield location, QC Kinetics exposed me to a whole new world of regenerative medicine. So much in their toolkit to be able to get you your life back. They helped me, and they're going to help you with your own personalized journey to be able to make sure that you are starting 2025 back, active, and living a pain-free life. Call my friends at QC Kinetics for your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics today at 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
One call, that's all. It's not just a slogan, but a way of life at Gruber Law Offices. If you've been injured, call our team today. We've represented tens of thousands of injured Wisconsinites for well over 30 years. Trust Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
It started with a prediction.
We'll go out there and play basketball and win.
And how many games?
6.
It became the culture.
Chance of Bucks in 6.
Being a Bucks fan means you live and breathe Bucks in 6. Brandon Jennings created the prophecy. Tune into Behind the Bucks, the story of Brandon Jennings on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and streaming wherever you get your podcasts.
That's for the culture.
Stay up to date on the green and gold all season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee. A standout performance.
Love to the end zone. Watson spins his way for the touchdown.
A player who energized the team.
He goes to the air. It's intercepted. Jair Alexander high-stepping for 6.
It's time for the current electric superhero MVP of the game on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Put it in the air this time. It is through there to Wicks and a touchdown.
Whether it's as small as a switch repair or as big as a whole home rewiring or even a generator to keep your lights on, call the superheroes from Current Electric. Go to callcurrent.com.
On the give inside, Jacobs breaks a tackle. Straight ahead he goes. Josh Jacobs taking everyone with him inside the 5, and he's down. He's in. Touchdown.
Ultimately, it wasn't a touchdown. He scored on the next play. Josh Jacobs, our superhero, not just of the day, but of the season for the Green Bay Packers. His 1,329 rush yards this season, 5th all-time for a single season for the Packers. 15 rushing touchdowns, tied for 3rd in a single season in Packers history. He is our current electric superhero, not just of the day, but of the season for the Green Bay Packers.
I don't want to overreact to this last stretch. There was a point this year where we were talking about Matt LaFleur getting consideration for Coach of the Year after what he was able to do with this offense with Malik Willis under center, right? Mm-hmm. We were saying, what a wizard. Wow, how impressive. But the last 3 games, LaFleur and Jordan, at the very least, opened up the door for warranted criticism and skepticism about their ability to be great, to be able to elevate this team to a Super Bowl caliber. And I think that's where fans are today. I think there is skepticism and there is criticism that is deserved about the way that they have performed over the last 3 weeks. And that is the dread that is hanging over me today with this Green Bay Packers team.
Continue to react all day long. Wilde and Tausch next. And from noon until 2, it'll be a special edition of Mr. Irrelevant. Just keep it locked here, 94.5 ESPN.
Eastbound 94, still a little bit slow from 84th Street through the stadium interchange in pockets.